After the huge success of Gojira, Toho Studios quickly made the decision to greenlight a sequel. Producers were so eager to capitalize on the success of the original film that the following movie, Godzilla Raids Again, was filmed and released in only 6 months. Since director Ishiro Honda was busy working on other projects, the prolific Motoyoshi Oda takes the role as director. Seeing as Oda was known to have put out as many as 5 films a year, Toho saw Godzilla Raids Again as a high-grade B-movie, being more of a straightforward monster-on-the-loose drama. Although it is largely a retread of the first film, Godzilla Raids Again is noteworthy for introducing the monster versus monster formula that would go on to shape many of the following Godzilla movies. Long story short, just as Dr. Yamane has predicted, another monster of the same species as the previous Godzilla appears due to continued nuclear testing. Only this time, a new monster resembling an Ankylosaurus named Anguirus, a monster that would go on to appear in later entries in the series, joins Godzilla in battle, and Japan must find a way to put a stop to both of them. While Raids Again lacks the ethical dilemma or the amount of suspense that the first film had, there is an emphasis on Japanese citizens recovering from World War II while still simultaneously feeling vulnerable to the threat of nuclear warfare. As opposed to the scientists and scholars in Gojira, the main characters in Raids Again, played by Hiroshi Koizumi, Setsuko Wakayama, and Minoru Chiaki, are everyday people that aren't as cleverly entwined with the monster action. They are often in the right place at the right time to keep the plot moving. But even though they aren't exactly outstanding, they're not unbearable either. Also, this would be the first of many other Godzilla and Toho special effects films that actor Hiroshi Koizumi would star in. The camaraderie between characters Shoichi Tsukioka and Koji Kobayashi is enjoyable, and certain emotional moments like this one with Hidemi Yamaji looking at a skyline that invokes imagery similar to the Tokyo fire bombings of World War II imply that the filmmakers were at least attempting to make something more than just a run-of-the-mill monster movie. Masaru Sato replaces Akira Ifukube in the music department this time. While his score isn't as memorable as some of the later Godzilla films he would go on to compose for, it is worth mentioning that he is widely considered one of the greatest Japanese composers of all time. It would soon be legendary director Akira Kurosawa's composer for many films in the coming years. Eiji Tsuburaya handles effects once again, but this time with larger set pieces and more resources to work with. Tsuburaya's crew members completed quite a lot of special effects work for Raids Again, much of it being very good. A new Godzilla suit was made easier and safer for stuntman Haruo Nakajima to operate inside of, specifically for more fast-paced and aggressive movements in combat. Nakajima took pride in portraying a victorious Godzilla in the battle with Anguirus in Osaka, so much that he bragged about fellow suit actor Katsumi Tezuka swallowing a lot of water in the process. With all that said, the rushed production of the film forced Toho to hire some inexperienced special effects crew members. For example, a rookie cameraman error causes odd-looking accelerated monster movements in a couple shots like this. Tsuburaya chose to use these takes to avoid the cost of rebuilding the set and reshooting. After the battle with Anguirus, Godzilla heads north towards a confrontation with fighter jets on a frozen island. While it would probably have been a better choice for Godzilla and Anguirus to finish their fight in the third act, this sequence is still executed well and climactic in its own right. Kobayashi, who ends up being the unexpected hero of the film, makes a foolhardy yet daring sacrifice against Godzilla that leads the monster to be buried in ice by the end of the film. Godzilla Raids Again is a film made before Toho really honed in and invented its own brand of science fiction. While flawed, there is some merit to be found in this first of many sequels. There is a much different American cut of the film oddly dubbed Gigantus the Fire Monster that I wouldn't suggest unless you're looking for a few unintended laughs.
Banana oil.
I could go into the story behind that, but
This is bad. This is bad.
the heavy editing a lot of Japanese science fiction films at the time saw in the West is something worth discussing at large in an entirely different video. I think I can go as far to say that this is an underrated entry in the franchise that happens to be sandwiched between two far superior films. It's not one of the best by any stretch, but it might be worth checking out or revisiting if you simply enjoy 1950s monster movies. For all things giant monsters and Japanese science fiction, stay tuned to Black Hole Planet.